See how I got her. Good afternoon, tribe. Saturday afternoon, May 2nd, 2020. And we are coming to you live from our house in Austin, Texas. And one of the reasons we wanted to come to you live, particularly today, a lot of you may or may not know about the real origin story of how PaleoFX started. And so we wanted to share that with you a little bit today and just give you a little bit of a background of why PaleoFX exists and what today means particularly to us at PaleoFX and to myself and Keith.
Right.
And so 11 years ago today, hey Frank, thank you for joining us. And if you're joining us, please say hello, tell me your name, where you're from. And also you have to give permission to StreamYard in order for your name to actually show up on my side. So I know that there's like some comments that just say Facebook user, so I can't tell who you are. So once you give StreamYard permission to print your name, I'll be able to see it and be able to say hello. And anyway, 11 years ago today, Keith and I lived through literally the worst thing that a parent can ever go through. We were notified that our daughter Brittany was in a car accident and she was killed in the car accident. And she was killed 3 days before her 23rd birthday and a week before her college graduation. So there was this plan. We had this big, huge party planned. We were going to celebrate her birthday, her college graduation, and Mother's Day all together with our family. And on what would have been her 23rd birthday, which will be Tuesday, which is May the 5th, we ended up having a memorial service celebrating her life instead of having the party that we had planned. And so it was a really interesting situation to find ourselves in. We were kind of just numb on autopilot, and we were attending her very first memorial service, which there were about 700 people in attendance, and they held a receiving line for us. And the receiving line, all of these people stood in line to pay their respects and really started telling us how our daughter had impacted their lives and had really changed their lives. And it was very specific and very profound. It was not this, kind of artificial, topical, oh, she changed my life. It was they were very specific about what she did or what she said or how she impacted them. And by the end of the evening, Keith and I were stunned. You think your children are really amazing and incredible. And then you learn. And then you learn how incredible they are. Man, normally I can get through this. But we just realized she had changed so many people's lives in such a very short time. She wasn't even 23. And we realized very quickly we could not let that legacy die with her of changing lives. And Brittany's gifts were music and worship and gift of prophecy. She could preach. She was a music and worship ministry major and planned to be a minister and work in the mission field. Do we have any Kleenex back there? We do. She had planned to work in the mission field. And so we really struggled at the beginning of trying to figure out what it was going to look like for us to carry on her legacy, because those were not our gifts. our gifts are food and nutrition and food, and health and wellness and fitness. And once we realized that we just needed to operate in our gifts, it became very, very clear. Thank you, by the way, for your messages. There's a couple of people that I can't see who they are, but Jeremy, thank you. I appreciate everything you do for Paleo Effects. And so when we finally realized that we needed to operate in our own gifts and it would still be carrying on the legacy of changing people's lives, we kind of fast forward 2 years down the road, and Miss Brittani was killed May 2nd, 2009. And in 2011, in August of 2011, we attended the inaugural Ancestral Health Symposium. And for those of you that are not familiar with it, the Ancestral Health Symposium is a very decidedly academic conference that discusses the science of paleo theory. And as we were sitting on the runway at LAX, ready to fly home after that event, we were talking, and one of the things that I was telling Keith was, if they would just they would do demonstrations, if they would do cooking demonstrations, if they would do movement sessions, if they would show people how to do this in their daily life, that's what's needed. People, the science is great. We geek out on the science all the time. But at the end of the day, we were partners in a very small gym chain. And our clients really were indifferent to the science. They're happy it exists, but unless they knew how to use it in their daily lives, they didn't know, they didn't really care about it.
Which is the whole reason they hired us, is to be the intermediary between the science and daily application. That they trusted us to interpret that science and deliver it accordingly. And up until that time, we had not seen any kind of a movement or a gathering that actually did that actually distilled the science into usable pieces.
Yeah. So as we're sitting there talking, and I'm bouncing ideas off of Keith, like, we obviously were connected to the people that ran and that still do run Ancestral Health Symposium. They're kind of our sister symposium. And I was like, well, we could reach out to them and tell them that they should do this and they should do that and blah, 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 blah. And I could, head up this part of it. And then Keith said, they're an academic conference. I don't think they're going to do where the rubber meets the road. They're not going to do the practical application. No, yeah. And nor should they. And so, we just made the decision that it was going to be us, that we were going to do it. And so we started out on this journey of figuring out what is that going to look like, all of those things. And by October of 2011, we had decided to move forward with Paleo Effects. And we launched Paleo Effects on March 14th of 2012, which just so happened to be me and Keith's anniversary. And it also was during South by Southwest, which was probably one of the bigger mistakes we made. But you live and learn. And what's interesting is we had about the same amount of people at the first Paleo Effects that were at Brittani's first memorial service, and that irony was not lost on us. And so when we realized that this was how we were going to be able to carry on Brittani's legacy, this became such a vision and a mission for us. And it was interesting because Paleo Effects has always been and will probably always be mission and vision driven first before it's ever business driven. And because we believe so strongly that people need to be educated about the fact that their health is in their hands and not anybody else's. And right now, with what's happening with COVID-19, I just want to put out there, this was something that Brittani and I talked about all the time before she passed away. We always talked about finding beauty in the ashes. and that there was always beauty in the ashes. And as much as Keith and I could wish we could go back and undo that Brittani would not be here, we cannot deny the beauty that has come from her ashes. It's just impossible, because tens of thousands of people's lives have changed through PaleoFX, and they continue to change. And PaleoFX and Brittani's legacy was born on that runway at LAX, and we continue to change people's lives every single year. And that is a mission and a vision that Keith and I cannot fathom ever changing and ever ending. And and right now, with what's currently happening, I think that it's more important than ever for us to start really looking for and finding the beauty in the ashes of the COVID-19 crisis. There is a lot there to be celebrated. There is a lot there to be happy for. I think people are starting to really wake up to the idea that their health is their number one asset and the number one thing that they should be investing in. Many times when I talk to people, I will hear them talk about their health as a cost or an expense and not an investment.
Or something to be outsourced
right
to an expert.
Right. And that's like as far from true health as you can possibly get, is ever relying on anything outside of yourself for your health or for the expertise on you and your body and your metabolic condition. So as we move into whatever's getting ready to come, we want to challenge everybody in our tribe to look for the beauty in the ashes that are around us right now, because you can always find it if you look for it. Yes, there's a lot not good. There's a whole lot not good in what's happening, but there's a whole lot good that is happening. And I think the idea that people starting to understand that it's not just their right, but it's their responsibility to take their health into their own hands, and that they cannot rely on a doctor, on a government, on a pharmaceutical to be the basis of their health, is coming into light like no other time in history. And that I think we can all be grateful for. That is one of the biggest reasons why PaleoFX exists. And so I really, I'm just so thankful for all of you that have kind of planted your flag in PaleoFX and claimed this as part of your home and part of your tribe and part of your life. And you can't imagine how much that means to me and Keith, and how important that is for us to be able to continue to move forward and carry on. And I, in the I love that, Jonathan, so perfectly said. It's very true. I really feel like right now, all of us in this movement have to be beacons of light for people outside of it, for them to see what's possible. I mean, I have people on here that I know their stories. I know how their lives have completely changed because of the fact that they came to PaleoFX. They decided to take the paleo challenge. They decided to get control of their health and their life. And I know how important that has been for them to be able to create health in their life and to regain their health, and that they had no idea how much our government, big pharma, big ag have attempted to control and circumvent our ability to be healthy on our own, and not use pharmaceuticals and not use their quote unquote template for health, because it's not been a template for health for many people. It has actually created lots of unhealth in this country. And so we just really appreciate all of you who have made PaleoFX a part of your life, and continue to support us, and support the mission and vision and Brittani's legacy.
I think one irony that's not lost on us is, if it had not been for Michelle and I being very, very healthy in 2008, 2009, we would never have survived those couple of years, because, Brittany's death hit us at a time when we were essentially financially dead as well. We were train wrecked by the 2008 housing crisis. The second punch was, the knockout punch was Brittany's death. And had we not been healthy, empowered individuals at that point, I don't know that we would have rebounded. We would not have been able to rebound and then grab hold of all the opportunities that came of also the financial ashes too. I mean, it was in this time is much like the 2008 time period, where it's the wild, wild west out there right now for people who are willing to co-create and band together and create a new environment. But that can't be done from a platform of poor health. And I think people are seeing that right now. And you're seeing the people who are the most fearful right now are those who are unhealthy. And we just want to educate people that you do not have to be in fear. If you have your health, you are in a position to rebound from anything. And I think, if I'm not one to pat myself on the back or to pat my significant others on the back in public, but we rebounded because we were healthy and we were empowered. And that's the only reason. And that we had each other to lean on. But had we not been in that position, I don't know, there certainly would not have been a PaleoFX, that's for sure.
I'll move that a little bit.
So yeah, I would just drop that in there. And I think my challenge for everyone in the PaleoFX tribe is go out and co-create a new reality, because now the time is ripe. We can pretty much do anything that we want. Is it scary? Yes, it's scary. The unknown is always scary, but we do have the power to create anything we want coming out of this.
Yes, we do. And that's the big thing, collaboration. Collaborating with like-minded people and bringing about the new paradigm. This is one of the things that we are definitely seeing that is the light at the end of the tunnel, is that we're taking down the old paradigm. We are dismantling it as we speak, as what's happening through all of this process. COVID-19 has shed a light on the horror that is our healthcare system. That is really a sick care system that is set up and designed to maintain disease, not to get to the core root problem of it, and not to have healthy people. And at the end of the day, and this is something a friend of ours, Jim Laird, said a number of years back. I want to say it was 6 or 7 years ago. And when he said it, there was just this aha moment for me, like, oh my God, you're so right. The government cannot govern or control a healthy population. What they can control is a sick and dependent one. And that is as true and more true today than ever before, because when you are sick and you are dependent on this government, you are going to give up your freedom for public safety, for being safe, for being protected. And there is nothing that this government can do to protect you. It's just not possible. You have to take that all into your own hands. We all do. And the thing is that our Constitution was set up for us to protect ourselves from our own government. And what we're seeing right now, the censorship, the absolute violation of human rights, the absolute violation of our constitutional rights is obscene and disgusting and despicable. And it is probably one of the most horrific things I've seen. And there are so many people that are not awake to the idea that this is wrong on every level and are actually willing and wanting and able to give their freedom up because they think that somehow this government is going to protect them. And it's so scary to watch people in that space and so fearful that they are willing to become slaves, which we're already slaves. Let's all be honest. We're already slaves to the debt that this government has created for us. We're slaves to that. Until it goes away, we're going to constantly be slaves. And the thing is that people are willingly going to deepen that slavery by handing over their rights, their freedom for public safety, and in turn turn other people over to the government by saying this person's not doing what they're being told. This person, and actually rewarding people for turning others in, for tattletaling, for snitching, when none of us knows each other's situation. We have no idea what somebody is going through. And so it's an interesting dilemma that I think all of us find ourselves in. But you have to ask yourselves, why is the censorship happening? Why is all of this going on? If there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to censor. Because at the end of the day, the most patriotic thing that any of us can do is question this government, is question everything that the authorities are telling us.
Any authority, whether it be government or not, and I think that's, I think if I could speak for Michelle for a second, we don't want to tell anybody what to think.
Right.
We just want to encourage people to think critically. If you come to a different conclusion than what we do, and you've employed critical thought, fabulous. Let's have a discussion. Mm-hmm. That's where rooted discussion starts from, is from two people who have critically thought through an issue or a problem. Where it goes off the rails is at the loss of critical thought.
Well, and that's the other piece of this too, is this one of the reasons why when you come to PaleoFX or you take part in anything that PaleoFX does, you will see dissenting opinions. Mm-hmm. We do not subscribe to dogma. We believe that dogma is one of the worst things that can happen. It is a stranglehold on society. It is a stranglehold on progress. It is a stranglehold on our freedom. And so when you come to PaleoFX or you take part in anything that we do at PaleoFX, be it online or in a live person event, you will see there is dissenting opinions, because the only way forward, the only way to progress is through dissent, is through questioning our own beliefs, is questioning our own dogma. And the thing is we will never have a situation where we have an echo chamber at PaleoFX.
It's a dangerous place.
It is extremely dangerous. And the problem is that's where we're at right now with our mainstream media, with so many things that we're seeing. We are in a stranglehold, and there is a battle right now for humanity. And my deepest hope is that everyone really wakes up, starts questioning, starts asking the hard questions, the questions about our own beliefs. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that we are seeing is that people are in fear because they don't know. And what they do know is what they're holding on to, because it's the only piece of sanity they think that they have. So if you start questioning that, they start questioning themselves. But the thing is that we all become free by questioning everything we even think or believe for ourselves.
Ask yourself, who told you that story and why do you believe it? And maybe you still do believe whatever the story is, very, very cool. But it's a great practice. It's one, I don't necessarily have a meditation practice per se, but I am constantly questioning my own beliefs. I'm constantly challenging sacred cows all the time. I mean, do I still believe that? Where did I pick up that story? Who told me that story? Do I still believe it? If so, why? If not, okay, that feels uncomfortable, but let's do something about it.
Yeah. So the thing is that I had a Facebook Live, I think it was last week. I don't remember. It's all of this is starting to blur together. But I had a Facebook Live with my friend, Ta Whitty. And one of the things in working with Ta and with Cole Whitty, who are both speakers at Pillow Effects and who we do a lot of collaboration and work with, is the idea around the constructs of what we believe and really unraveling those, like Keith said, really questioning where did that thought process come from and why do I believe it and do I still believe it? And that's where critical thought is so important, is questioning all of those things so that you can actually get to a really true and free answer. But we are not free until we start doing that. And that means everyone. And the thing that I'm going to ask this tribe to do, I see a lot of our people out on social media really, and it's really difficult right now because there are some people that are just in such a state of fear that they are operating with absolutely no access to their prefrontal cortex. And it's clear and it's apparent. But one of the things that we need to do is remember and take a deep breath that we were once in their shoes before we all woke up, before we all started understanding the importance of really thinking critically for ourselves and questioning what we're hearing, but we were there. Mm-hmm. So let's remember that we are the beacon of light to bring them out of that darkness. And so please exercise kindness. Please exercise patience. It's really easy to get drawn into that lower vibration of when they start calling you names because you're questioning something that they believe so deeply, and it's so deeply seated in their body, and it's so deeply seated in their constructs, and it questions their very life. So when you are engaged with someone who has not woken up yet, please be really kind to how you're doing, because the only way we're going to bring them out of that is through light and through love and through patience and through kindness. And I'm not preaching at anybody. I'm going to tell you, I had to really question myself the other day because I went down a rabbit hole with someone that and got sucked into some really negative stuff that that doesn't happen to me. And I had to really question myself and ask myself, what good am I doing if I'm just engaging in that same lower vibration frequency that they're in? If I don't operate at a higher frequency in love, in patience, in kindness, and in being a beacon of light and truth for people, they're never going to ever see what I see, what I know to be true, what I know to be true in my heart. So I'm encouraging all of us to really be those beacons of light, to be those beacons of love and kindness, and showing gratitude to people and understanding that they're in a place where we once were and we have moved away from, and now we need to try to help to bring as many people over. Because one of the things that we believe that's happening right now is the Great Divide. It is going to be the great divide between the people who have woken up and recognize where we're at and help us get out of the situation, and those that will never wake up and will never accept that what's been happening to us has been happening to us.
I mean, the red pill, blue pill thing is kind of a cheesy moniker, but it's really, it's really true. And it really is a difference between people who are willing to question and are willing to question their deepest held convictions with eyes wide open, and those who are not. And that's really the divide. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So true, Jeremy. Yeah. Shame right now, shame and guilt are two ways that our government is trying to control what we're doing as citizens, and turning other people in, all of those things. You don't care about other people. At the end of the day, everybody needs to do their own research. Everybody needs to make a decision for themselves, what's best for themselves, not necessarily for others. Please put yourself first. This is the whole adage of, you need to put that air oxygen mask on first before you can help anybody else. The thing is at the end of the day, you need to make the decisions based on your situation, not on what the government says, not on whatever. Because if you have people who in your family and in your home that are immunocompromised or weakened immune system or have underlying comorbidities, those are things that you have to take into account as to whether or not you decide to mask up, or you decide to go out, or you decide to stay in. That's a decision for each individual person, and for anyone to believe that they have the right to take away that decision from you is absolutely wrong. And we want to encourage everybody to really, really get back in touch with the fact that you are a free being. You were born a free being, and you shall always be a free being. And the only one that can give that away is you. And we hope that none of you do. And so go ahead.
I was just going to say, just as an example, my parents live not far from us, and we have decided during this whole crisis not to visit them because they are elderly. They live by themselves. We keep up with them to make sure they're okay. But Michelle and I are out mixing and mingling. Mm-hmm. And so that was a decision that we made. We mix and mingle with healthy people, and there is still a potential, however slight, that we could be carriers.
Well, we actually have been exposed two times.
We just, choose not to visit the family during this time.
We have actually been exposed to 2 different people who have tested positive for COVID-19. And in those 2 cases, we did quarantine for 14 days when we knew for sure that we had been exposed to somebody that had COVID-19. So we have been very careful. And we've only actually mixed and mingled with the same group of people. Right. We've all been around each other, and they were also exposed in those same 2 exposures. So, we're making the decisions based on us, and we encourage you all, make your decisions based on you, your situation, your family, your loved ones, the people you feel responsible to. But at the end of the day, make the decision for yourself, not for anybody else.
Everybody's unique, just like your dietary needs and your workout needs, and all of that is very, very unique to you, which is why you need to critically think about everything.
And anyway, I just want to kind of conclude our live today by just telling all of you, thank you so much for I'm going to answer that question here in just a minute. I wanted to put this up. I appreciate that, Jeremy, because we each need to make our own decisions. I'm not sure I don't have your name. So if you give permission to StreamYard to tell me your name, then I'll be able to see it in the future. But yes, we actually already took the antibody test, and we both came up negative for the antibody test.
Which that test itself is in question.
Yeah, the test is really in question simply because there is no test for COVID-19. And so that's the other piece of it. There's just so many unknowns in all of this. Unknown unknowns. Thank you, Donald Rumsfeld. Anyway, so there's a lot of unknowns around that. And personally, my hope when we took the antibody test was that we had done it, we had already had it, and that we could go donate plasma. So, but our tests came up negative. We do plan on testing again. We have the IgG tests, so we plan on testing again next week. So, and we'll let anybody know if it turns out we've had it, because we believe very strongly if we have it, we'll probably be asymptomatic. just because of how healthy we are, and we have really super strong immune systems and microbiomes. So we've done a lot of work to do that. But anyway, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted if we find out that we've had it, and when we take the next round.
It's another path to deep dive down and do extensive research on.
Yeah, for sure. So, but as we close up today, I want to just really thank all of you for taking your time today to be with us, to remember our daughter, Brittani. And I actually want to grab that picture real quick back there, because that's her picture. And I know everybody always goes, "Oh my God, does she actually have a dad?" Because she looks just like you do. This is her. This is Brittani. This is Brittani Jordan Panazzo. And in 3 days, she would have been 34 years old this year, which makes me feel really, really old. And anyway, beautiful, beautiful soul. And I know her presence is with us all the time, and that she is really proud of the tribe that we have gathered together with PaleoFX.
She would have absolutely loved this tribe.
Yes, she would have. And well, I think she does. I think she loves this tribe. And especially since this is the tribe that's carrying on the legacy of changing lives. And we want to continue to do that. And we love you. And I wish I knew who you were so I could tell you that. But thank you so much, you guys, for supporting us and for being part of the PaleoFX tribe. And we will be back again soon with more updates and info. I think you should probably hear from us on Monday about some new updates on PaleoFX and where we're at currently. So we're going to be making some pretty big decisions on Monday, and don't want to miss that. So love you guys. Have a fabulous weekend, especially if you're in Austin. It's gorgeous out, and we are out of lockdown, and which is really nice.
Are we ever in? Really?
I don't know. Anyway, so thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you and Frank for being here all the time, always on our lives, and for supporting. And let me make sure I'm not missing anybody, because I want to make sure I don't miss anybody.
Become hard to kill. Nurture destiny.
Yeah, and then Marty.
Defy dogma.
Marty, we love you, and you're amazing, and everything you do. Jonathan Pearson, love you too, honey. I'm hoping that I get to see you. I know you're in Austin, so I hope I get to see you before you fly back to the UK. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Y'all have a fabulous day and a great weekend. Thank you, Lisa, Elizabeth, and Debbie. You guys are awesome. And we will see you again really soon.